Hi guys, in this video I am sharing my experience traveling from Nicaragua to El Tunco, which is a colorful beach town on the Pacific coast here in El Salvador. Also an impromptu football game in San Salvador, the capital, and we will be discovering the area around Santa Ana. Let's start from the beginning. Here's how I got from Leon to El Tunco. Good morning guys, today we are on our way from Leon in Nicaragua to El Tunco in El Salvador. I am going by shuttle, which cost me $45. The shuttle picked us up at 3 a.m. and we arrived at the border at 5 a.m., where we had to wait until 6 for the border to open. They gave us a migration form that we needed to fill out. We do have 2 border crossings. The first one is here at the Nicaragua-Honduras border. Nicaragua is known to be a bit stricter. We've had to pay $8 to exit, and they've scanned all our bags again. And this time I wasn't as lucky. They did double check, but luckily they weren't too difficult about my cameras, etc. Once we were stamped out of Nicaragua, we had to enter Honduras and pay $3. After another 2 to 3 hour drive through Honduras, we had to exit the country once again. Here, the migration office was a lot busier, but we got stamped out easily and crossed the river to El Salvador. Here, someone came to the car, wrote down our passport information, and we didn't even get a stamp. We then had to wait for a new minivan at a gas station near Usulutan for about an hour. No idea why. Then we finally continued our journey to El Tunco, where I arrived after 3 p.m. I have made it to my hostel here in El Tunco, El Salvador. I am staying at Canucks, which is a pretty new place, and this is what it looks like. These are the steps onto my top bed, but there is air conditioning. This room costs $17 per night, which is quite a lot, but yeah, if there's air conditioning, which is on all day. They have a kitchen as well, so I can prepare some of my own food. But for now, I need to go off and explore town. It is quite cloudy today, but luckily it seems to be just today. In El Tunco, I stayed at Canucks Hostel, which is really new. It's only just been opened and they are still renovating the place and making it a lot better. And as soon as I walked in, I really felt like home. There are so many nice people staying there, and one of them even gave me the best mango of my life as soon as I walked through the door. So yeah, right away I had a really good feeling, and in the evening I went to the beach for sunset, but the sun doesn't really set in the ocean. It sets to the side a bit more, and then I went back to the hostel and tried my first pupusas. There is a woman who sells them just outside of the hostel in the evening, and you can get 2 for $1, which is super cheap because they are so filling. Pupusas are a thick corn tortilla that is filled with cheese and any other filling that you want, and they are the staple food of El Salvador, and especially a backpacker's favorite because they are so budget friendly. Since it was a long weekend for the El Salvadorians, it was super busy in town, and I had the best night out so far with a lot of people from the hostel, but also some locals. I didn't do much in El Tunco except for work because it was nice to have an air-conditioned office and I just felt really at home. You can visit waterfalls nearby for about $7, and they are kind of in a canyon and they look really cool, but I had a lot of waterfalls planned still, so I decided to just skip it. Or you could take a $30 surf class, and the surf is really good there, but yeah, I'm not really a surfer and I'm very intimidated to even try. Or you can just rent a board for $10 a day. Another popular hostel in town is Papaya Lodge. We loved the food at El Carbón, which is an asado place, so basically it's barbecue. Also at La Esquina del Sabor, they have incredible pupusas, and the place across from it is also super great. And we had amazing pizza at Tunco Veloz. This was a pretty great supermarket if you needed to get any like random bits like nail clippers or anything aside from snacks. For fresh fruit and veg, you had to walk all the way to Pargos Hotel, which is where there was a giant fresh fruit stall. There are a lot of souvenir shops in town, and it is a bit more pricey compared to the rest of the country because it is a touristy place. However, during the week it was still pretty calm. You can see that they are developing the town quite a lot at the moment. Even the World Championship surfing and the Miss Universe elections would have been held there soon after my visit. What I loved most about the city is the beautiful, colorful street art. Eventually, the whole hostel was convinced to go watch a football game in the capital city, San Salvador. You can take the bus 102 or 107 on the main road and it takes you straight to the city. There we stayed at Hostel Cumbres del Volcán Flor Blanco. We ate another incredible barbecue or asado at La Esquina del Sabor. And then in the evening, we went to the football game. Our Uber broke down along the way, but we made it. We really enjoyed the spectacle off the field more than the one on the field. There was even a guy in front of us that was filming or vlogging the whole game. If you want to see that video and see us there, then I will link it in the description below. We ended up at La Veinte, where we had $2 margaritas and tapas, and we tried a few other places that weren't really worth mentioning. But we had such an incredible night together. The next day we went for lunch, walked around the city center and the local market, and then we had to say goodbye to everyone as we split our ways. 3 of us took the number 201 bus to Santa Ana from the Terminal Occidente. When I arrived in Santa Ana, I had some incredible tacos at San Carbon and a torta. And then I checked into my hostel called Villa El Campanario. This place has a nice pool, a huge cozy garden with a bar that sells drinks for only $1, a kitchen that is pretty well equipped, and plenty of cool spots to hang out. The rooms are tight and the shower is an ice shower, the worst I've had though. What Santa Ana is known for is the flower route, or Ruta de las Flores, because in the area there are lots of flowers, but they are only in bloom between December to February. So I missed out on the flowers, but there was still plenty to see and do. You don't have to rent a scooter to visit the Ruta de las Flores, but it does give you more freedom. The main towns along the route can be reached with a local bus as well. Hi guys, I have my glasses back on and this one in hand, so that means I've rented a scooter again. And it looks a lot more like a motorcycle instead of the scooters I've been driving so far. But I'm pretty sure that it'll be all fine. It works the same way. Today we are going to drive along the Ruta de las Flores here near Santa Ana, and I'm really excited. Everyone's really been enthusiastic about it, and I'm excited to see the lovely little towns along the route. My first stop of the day was Salcoatitan. This town has a small market with local coffee and yuca dishes. You can try out the local quesadilla, which is not like the Mexican. It is some sort of cake that is known in the region. Apaneca is the next stop along the Ruta de las Flores and is known for its coffee and crafts. There are 2 popular hikes nearby to some lakes, but I didn't do that. You do need a tour guide for those. Or you could rent an ATV or buggy to get to the lakes. I visited this beautiful crafts market instead. Channel your inner maze runner and head to Café Albania. I had lunch at Café Albania. I didn't try to find my way through the maze, which is a very popular thing to do here. Instead, I went for the rainbow slide. Right guys, I am about halfway and I have made it to Café Albania. Here I went off the rainbow slide, which currently you can only do half for $5 instead of $8. There are also a lot of zip lines here. You can zip line with a surfboard, you can zip line with a bike, and the prices are actually really reasonable. Also, there is a huge maze here that you can walk through, and you can just have a drink and enjoy the views, even if you're not into all of that adventure. I have made it to the colorful town called Concepción de Ataco. The last town I went to was Ataco. This is a very small town that is covered in pretty murals. I wandered around the streets to see all the beautiful street art. I also walked around the market, but I thought it wasn't that super lively. You can walk to the Mirador de la Cruz, which offers a great view over the city, but I did not feel like doing that. I wanted to visit the hot spring waterfalls called Salto de Malacatupan, but unfortunately the road looked quite dangerous and I just turned back. There are also quite a lot of hot springs in the area because it is still an active volcanic area, but to be honest, the hot springs just look like pools online. There are a few different tours around coffee plantations and factories to see how the coffee is made, or you can just indulge at a local cafe. After one last stop at Walmart, I made it back safe and well to the hostel. I'm gonna put my groceries away and then have a drink at the $1 happy hour. The next day, I made my way back to the start of the flower route in Juayua. I didn't stop there the day before because I knew I would be visiting on this second day. Good morning, guys. It is pretty early. It is 8:45 and I have made my way to Juayua. It was about an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half driving from Santa Ana, and today we are doing the 7 waterfalls, and also they are setting up the food market behind me already. So that is something for when we are back. I bet we will be pretty hungry after all those waterfalls and the climbing and the rappelling. Very excited, beautiful day, let's go. If there's one activity that you do on the Ruta de las Flores, make it this one. I met up with Elizabeth and her son and another tour guide. They would be guiding us along all of these waterfalls. I lost count very early on how many waterfalls we actually were seeing, but it felt like in our half-day tour we visited way more than 7 waterfalls. Had to walk down quite a bit into the valley before finally reaching the waterfalls, and they are really close together. This one is the 3rd waterfall, called Rainbow Waterfall, for an obvious reason, and I'm really dreading the way back up. Now we need to climb up this waterfall like our guide is doing right there. But the first part is going to be with the rope, the second without, and then the third with the rope again. Wish us luck. I must admit, the path was pretty scary at times and maybe not 100% secure. However, it was definitely worth it. As you can see, you will get completely soaked, so do not bring anything that you do not want to get wet, or bring a dry bag for it. We were able to leave what we didn't need at the start of the trail. This place surprised me so much with its hidden treasures, like this natural exfoliant. Or you could ask the local artist to get you a temporary tattoo like I did. After literally climbing through the waterfalls, we made our way to one of the highlights, which is the idyllic Los Chorros de Calera waterfall. There are a few of these different pools next to each other,
and obviously we had to go for a refreshing swim in them. The hike was very moderate in difficulty, just the climbing was a bit more challenging, but I do believe that anyone could do this activity. In one of the pools, you could enter a cave behind the waterfall that would then take you to one of the other pools. It was so dark and the current inside of this cave was so big that it honestly took a lot of effort to make my way into it. Eventually, when I made it to the other side, we couldn't even get out there, so we had to go all the way back. Not sure why we did that, but anyway. We have made it to the final pools. After the 7 waterfalls, we made our way to the 2 pools and 3 more waterfalls. Look at the butterfly. Wow. We got some mangoes here whilst enjoying the pool, and it's been such a lovely day. After an incredible tour, we made our way back to Juayua city because on the weekends there is a food festival going on. I thought that they would have like a lot of variety and different local dishes, but to be honest, it was mainly just barbecues, and we do love those. So obviously we all grabbed some food together, and I made my way back as the only one on a bike. The rest had taken an Uber or shared transportation to get there. I passed by a few lookout places, also called miradores, where I had great views over the valleys in between the mountains. And I also bought some fresh fruit, of course. El Salvador has had a pretty bad reputation in the past. However, today I thought it was perfectly safe to visit. And this is because the new leader has locked up pretty much anyone who was related to the gang-related violence and crime, and probably even put some innocent people in jail. But it does mean that a lot of the troublemakers are locked away now, and I did not feel unsafe, not even once. El Salvador uses the US dollar as currency, so that's pretty useful actually, because when you continue your trip onto the next country, you don't have to make sure that you've used up all the money, because you will be able to use it in another country coming up. Mostly cash is accepted. You can pay with your card in some places, but you will most likely need to take out some cash, which almost always comes with a $4 fee at the ATM, which is the case in most countries in Central America. El Salvador is also one of the few countries in the world that accept Bitcoin as official mode of payment. So if you have Bitcoin, you might even be able to pay for your food at the food festival in Juayua. So that's pretty cool, but I don't know much about that. When it comes to my budget, here is what I spent in El Salvador. First off, the transfer from León, Nicaragua to El Tunco was $45 or 42 euros. Then a local bus costs you $1 to $2. Super cheap, so I didn't spend that much on transportation within the country at all. The scooter that I rented to drive along the Ruta de las Flores was $15, and then just a few dollars for the gas. That is per day. So I rented it 2 days, so that would be like $35. I spent $19 per night in El Tunco on accommodation, but it did have all day round air conditioning and a great kitchen, and even a swimming pool. And it was located right in the city center. The other hostels were a lot cheaper, so the ones in San Salvador and Santa Ana were always less than $10, sometimes even $7. On activities, once again, everything was pretty cheap. The 7 Waterfalls Tour was only $10 if I'm not mistaken, because we were quite a big group. And then all the adventure activities at Cafe Albania, they were super cheap. Like I paid $5 for the slide, and even the zip lines are maybe $15 at most. I also spent some money on drinks, mainly because the happy hour at my hostel in Santa Ana was $1 for a drink. So in total, I spent about $8 on activities per day. When it comes to food, I spent about $15 a day, and my average cost per day in El Salvador was less than $40. So even though the currency is dollars, it is actually a really affordable country. Anyway, that is it for this video. I hope you liked it. Maybe it has even gotten you interested in visiting El Salvador. It was definitely one of my favorite countries in Central America, and I just met the most amazing people. If you're interested in also seeing what I get up to in the next countries, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, and Mexico, then definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the next videos. So I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!